That applause for Michelle Obama went on and on and on. And that was before she even began to speak at President Obama's campaign kickoff in Columbus, Ohio this weekend. Now that the country has been introduced to a Republican presidential candidate who was born rich and got much richer, keeps his hundreds of millions of dollars in strange places like Swiss bank accounts and the Cayman Islands, and who has handed his children a $100 million trust fund, Michelle Obama reintroduced her husband to Ohio this way.
Of a single mother who struggled to put herself through school and pay the bills. That's who he is. He's the grandson of a woman who woke up before dawn every day to catch a bus to her job at the bank. And even though Barack's grandmother worked hard to help support his family, and she was good at her job, like so many women, she hit that glass ceiling. And men no more qualified than she was were promoted up the ladder ahead of her. So believe me, Barack knows what it means when a family struggles. He knows what it means when someone doesn't have a chance to fulfill their potential. And what you need to know, America, those are the experiences that have made him the man and the president he is today.
Joining me now is Melissa Harris Perry, host of Melissa Harris Perry, weekends at 10 a.m. right here on MSNBC. Melissa, I'm struck that we have a president who's served almost a full term. The country knows everything about this man. And here we see Michelle Obama going back to the politics of personal biography.
Yeah, and both her biography and the president's. So just before she began to reiterate President Obama's biography, she had talked about her own and sort of what it meant to grow up on the south side of Chicago with two parents who were working hard to put their kids through college. And she talked about her father making a contribution to her college education, even though most of her college education was paid for with student loans. So generating that sense of empathy between the first family and American citizens who are in this moment of like economic struggle. So I don't think it's about sort of that we don't remember the Obama's biographies. It's rather that they're trying to reemphasize in the context of the campaign that even though they've been in the White House for the past 4 years, that the White House and that sort of rarefied air is actually very new, that they are much more so than Mitt Romney, sort of the up from family, a family that is made good on what the American promise is supposed to be. And
they certainly, she seems to be welcoming any comparison anyone wants to make when they're hearing this to the Romney experience in America. I want to point out a polling item that is really quite striking now, and that is this question of shares your values, which normally the Republican presidential candidate has a lead on this, but President Obama has a 10-point lead, 50 to 40% on shares your values. That's normally just surrendered by the Democratic nominee to the Republican nominee.
Yeah, this president really has taken two things away from the Republicans. One is strength on foreign policy, sort of his position on foreign policy over the past 4 years, but particularly the killing of Osama bin Laden and the drawing down of troops in Iraq and now in Afghanistan. And then, secondly, this sense of sort of I know what you're suffering from. I've experienced the same kinds of struggles. Really, the main challenge that this president faces when it comes to re-election is the issue of the still struggling economy. And as long as, even if it's happening in relatively small increments, as long as that unemployment rate is ticking down, and as long as there are signs of growth, and I got to tell you, I actually think that The Avengers doing as well as it did at the box office this weekend is a sign of kind of economic prosperity, because people just don't go spend money on a family movie unless they're feeling like they've got a little wiggle room in their budget. So these are all good signs for the president.
And the president has a lead among women voters. It seems that they will be hoping that Michelle Obama can actually build that lead.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Michelle Obama is there as First Lady not only for women voters, but undoubtedly also, for just whole groups of sort of middle-class voters who will see Michelle and recognize themselves in her. But I think for women voters in particular, because Michelle Obama was for so many years a working spouse, a working mother, and by working, I mean working outside the home for pay, in addition to her work as a parent. And now, over the past 4 years, obviously, as First Lady, she hasn't worked outside the home, but she has that clear sense of all the struggles that contemporary women face.
MSNBC's working mother, Melissa Harris Perry, the working outside the home mother, gets the last word. Thanks, Melissa.
Thanks, Lawrence.